Hello, everybody. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Euron Systems Live Business Spotlight. I am Mir Mohammad Haider, Business Head at Euron Systems, and your host for today's session. Today, we have a very special guest whose work site at intersection of leadership, human behavior, learning, and organizational transformation. And not only that, he's also a person which is from a very strong political background. So it's not just an educator or a person who is transforming careers, he's also a person who will be transforming the whole youth. His voice is heard by the youth and everybody around. So, joining us is Mr. Shah Nizamuddin, founder of People Assess and business head at Non-Verbal Consultancy. So, thank you so much for joining in, and let me bring him on stage. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Haider. It's a wonderful thing to be part of this podcast, and let us make some sense out of our conversation so people enjoy, understand, learn, and become more successful.
Definitely. So before we deep dive into our LMS part and what the whole title is about, what is the humanization behind an LMS and everything, I wanted to understand your journey. You are into a completely different setup where you are teaching, transforming careers. Plus, you also come from a very strong political background as well. So, how are you able to? How did this journey start first, and then how are you able to maintain both of these?
Okay, it's an interesting story. Right after my MBA, we had some differences in the family. The family didn't want me to go out of the town. So I said, let me try my luck and then let's see what we can achieve as an individual. So went off to Pune and joined a company called World Sites. And there, I was a system admin after MBA, which was a very weird profession to actually pursue. And then the director was very keen on my public speaking skills and the way I would present and I would talk to people and then give solutions over a conference, basically the internal organizational discussions. And then he said, "Why don't you train our people?" And that's the time I started training the professionals on body language, how to understand people, how to understand them even before they open their mouth, and basically work around the sales skills so that you understand your customer, you understand their needs, you understand their wants, and then basically superimpose the products features and the benefits of the product. And that's how we started doing the training part, and that was body language. So a lot of people enjoyed during those days how uh, you know uh, you can actually understand a person even before he opens a mouth, and that's how the journey began. And then we became the after a lot of people going through training, they started demanding, why don't you speak about assessments, and why don't you start helping us understand the assessments. That's when I became the master trainer for disc assessment, and that was an eye opening. And we became the international distributors and helped, I don't know how many organizations by now that they have gone through the disc assessments and various assessments that we do. And over a period of time, it has just been that a lot of we work on the leadership work. We help organizations um, do a transition from a point A to point B from a leader's perspective. And we help organizations find out who their best leaders are. And finding and building leaders is a science today. It's no more just, it's not a luck anymore. The organizations basically curate their leadership teams, and then they help them grow on a role that they have been given. So leadership today is an art. At the same time, it is science. You have to understand people. You have to understand their ability. You have to understand whether they fit in for the competencies that they need to serve, and then we need to promote them. And that's a basic journey of the last 20 25 years in the corporate world. And when it comes to the political line, I it's a what do you say, a, a world where we have to fight every day. So I was national spokesperson to the Congress party, at the same time a general secretary in the state committee. So a lot of responsibilities when it comes to managing political side, at the same time helping leaders grow and become more successful, and that gives us the lot of passion to work with those people and then help them understand and become more successful.
Great, great, amazing. Now let us a little bit deep dive into what is actually happening in today's world. Right? You said that most of the companies are looking for these organizational, adapting or them you to train them, etc. But then one thing what we wanted to understand is when most of the companies are investing heavily in LMS platforms, that is learning management system, or you can also call training management systems platforms. Why are there so many learners struggling, and why is there a learner engagement gap? What is the biggest thing which is
Very
happening on the learner engagement?
the reason why we have this gap is very simple. When you want, when an organization is spending a lot of money, for example, it could be having a budget of about 10 crores for a year, and they have x number of employees going through the learning system. Now they don't know what they want to learn. The organizations actually don't know, they don't realize that these people are motivated to learn if there is a growth in the process of it. Now, for example, a lot of people who are excellent in terms of performance in a current role. For example, he could be a sales manager. And sales manager, he is doing an exceptional job. He has been achieving his numbers. He has been achieving his targets. He has been basically he never lets down the organization when it comes to sales. Now he performs year on year, year on year, and he expects a promotion, but he has already hit the glass ceiling. They don't understand that today we need to have a path. That means see now and see next. Seeing now, it means seeing yourself in a current position. See now also means the competencies in the current role, and see next means seeing yourself in the next role and at an elevated level. See next also means see the competencies you need at the next level. Now when you put people on to a competency, when you put them on a LMS, you have a standardized subjects which are sitting in silos, and your organization is asking them to finish these and learn and basically implement in the organization and in terms of basically in your work. Now the gap is that he doesn't know why he needs to learn this. If the organization is able to do a good organizational development as a objective, and do an assessment which will figure out the gaps between what he is today and what he needs to be tomorrow. If those gaps are clear, it's easier for a person to understand why he needs to learn a specific subject. He will also get to know why he needs to upskill himself to a next level, and that's when he will start giving more importance to the LMS. And today what we're doing is, because the LMS is widely available at various levels, you basically you put those the courses on the LMS and ask them to finish. They get a certificate, and they basically just run through it, and they don't learn. And that's why you find these gaps coming in when it comes to learning in an organizational setup.
Very, very well. I mean, that was such a clear example of understanding. So, you mean that it is not always just putting the content, it's not putting a piece of content, but there has to be some kind of an assessment. So, even if the
That's right.
LMS is there, there has to be some kind of an assessment that to say, that, see, you are here today, you need to go at 100, you are at 80. These are the 20% you need to do. So, go ahead with these
Absolutely.
things. Great. But even if
Now,
that
now,
is
now,
done, let's say, even, yeah, yeah.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Even if assessments is done, let's say even if there is an assessment done and the gap is also seen, still, a lot of people go with recorded content and they just tell to finish. Do you think still there is an impact of the same level, or it has to be like I as a trainer need to eventually come down offline or face to face on a meet and help you out, because humanizing is needed, or is it like let it go on its own? What do you prefer more?
No, if you look at various geographies of the world, right? Now, if you come in a Indian setup, uh, people know a lot of things that they are going through in a training program. At the same time, when you do a training program, in China, or when you're doing it in the European country or in US, they go through a basic concept to an expert level of a concept. In Indian context, what happens is, and there people actually sit and listen and go through a point A to point B, and they have no qualms about it. But when it comes to India, right, the lot of people have a very level of understanding, very level of knowledge of the concepts. Maybe because they have gone through something in on the online. It could be a blog, it could be an article, it could be a small snippet, it could be a 100 rupee self-help book. They would have learned a few things which are here and there, but they don't know how to really put it. So when you're doing a training program, when you're doing a developmental work for the organization, the impact comes only when you clearly know what is the mandate, what is our goal, what is our objective for the organization. If the organization is at $100 million revenue, and if it wants to move to a 200 or a 500 level of a revenue, the competencies, the skills that you need at that level are far different at what you're doing at a $100 million level. So your negotiation skills will change. You're interacting with customers who are lot more larger. They're more successful when it comes to their executives. Their products, their expectations are better. Their expectations are far more clear. So when you're dealing with customers who are far better than your initial level of clients or the mid-level clients, you need to start understanding that how I can better, how I can equal, how I can plateau with those people so that I can execute my business. I'll give you a small example why I'm saying this is there is a very large IT organization. They had 14 directors, 14 SLT, basically the strategic leadership team. And the organization wanted one person to take over as the country head. And the clear mandate came from the organization was that I need a person who can think, who can relate, and at the same time who can also work. We did an assessment of competency based assessment, and we had about 14 competencies. And to your the for your it's just a surprise. For you, if you see how many, for example, I'll ask you a question. Out of those 14 people, how many would have actually complied to these three requirements of the organization? One is the ability to think, the second is your ability to work, the third is your ability to relate. So how many do you think out of 14 actually came closer to that or were within that range?
I guess maximum one or two.
It was a surprise that there was nobody,
Not even one.
not even one. 14 out of 14, 12 people were extremely good in terms of working skills. They were great executors, absolute great. You give them something exceptionally to perform, they will go deliver, they will make they will bring the sky down, and they'll make sure the work is done. But they have been taught only to work, and they were never taught how to learn and relate. And if you see, there was one client which was about $2 billion client for them, and it was going into the red zone, and the client wanted to pull out of this contract. So we had to work on it. These 14 out of 14 people had to make sure this $2 billion client remains with the organization so that they stay in the black zone, not they don't get into the red zone. And when we bought one person from Chennai, and he was good in terms of thinking, working, as well as on relating. He went to the organization headquarter, met the CTO, and met the CTO. He met the chief, the chief financial officer. He met the operations officer. He met a lot of people around there. And that there was a simple reason, either you would not even people realize that the client was asking for communication on a regular basis. It was like a streamline. I want communication coming in as a stream. And the when the CTO is firing a complaint or raising a ticket from the European country down to the Indian center, he was not getting response. The engineers were picking the ticket, they were working, but they were not communicating. So the customer wanted somebody in the organization to give them a constant update. Even if the work is not happening, it had to have a certain amount of information flowing. And so he promised, saying that because he was high on relating to people, his sociability was great. He was able to quickly connect up with all the top level officers at the same time, the engineers who were connecting with us. And then he realized that it is the only problem here is that communication. The people had to be a little more social, had to have a little more relating capability, right? They need to have, for example, they need to have fair amount of criticism tolerance, because the feedback is coming at a sharp level. You need to have a frustration tolerance, because when things are not happening, client is bouncing on you. You need to have ability to bounce back, be more resilient, and still deliver, because you need to have that frustration tolerance. At the same time, you need to have, Indians have this bigger problem, that we our need to task closure is very low. We tend to wait till the time comes so that we can close the task. Whereas the European and the Americans are like, their need for task closure is very high. They want the task to be closed at the earliest. And that communication, saying that, the task is going to be closed, your ticket is going to be closed, had to be communicated to these clients, and it was not happening. And in this case, so you had to bring these 14 people and say that, what, you have hit the glass ceiling, and you need to come out and become more strategic in nature, rather than just being managers or directors who are just delivering the SLA of the organization. So that, to figure out that gap, and then put them through the LMS. If you tell this is the issue, your ability to connect with people is a little low, you need to improve it. So go through a course which is going to give you your ability to be more social, be more connected, be having more network with the organization internally as well as in the customer's place. You need to also have your ability to, self control. How much do you need to say and how much do you need to keep it to yourself? Whereas today we feel, when the customer becomes a little friendly, we tend to tell a lot more things which are really not important to be told to the customer. So how do you have a self control? At the same time, you need to have assertiveness, which is your ability to say no to customers. It's not saying, hey, no, either. But how do you present a case saying that it is not possible at this time? It can take 1 week, it may can also take 2 weeks. So how do you define that timeline to a customer and say this is what we can do at this point of time, and this is how you draw your KRAs and KPIs at that organizational level. So as an organization, you need to understand that how my people will learn and deliver bigger, the top line to the company, rather than just going through a course, clicking complete, getting a certificate, posting it onto the LinkedIn, and you get a few likes. So this is where the gap is.
Wow. Very true. So, how do they make this? Let's say organizations. Okay, I can come if it's a small organization, it's a startup, one on one. It can happen within one campus or one office space. But if they are at different, let's say it's an MNC or they're different cities, how do they cope up with that gaps then? Let's say somebody who wants to get into like a hybrid kind of a model where they are like, okay, this is what we understand, this is what we can do, and this is what way you lack. Is it better if I can just communicate over a live session in the portal or any other tool which is done? Do we have to have that cross breeding? Because let's say so many people in that story are Indians, only the client is European. What if there was somebody from Europe and I could speak to that person from Europe and understand the mindset? Do you take it in that direction, or is it more like, no man, this is what you need to do, it's pretty simple, you need to do it at an organization level, plus there has to be personal involvement as well? So organizations
Yeah.
cannot do if there is no will.
Absolutely. I think the leader who's sitting at the top needs to think this way. If the leader is having a blindfold and he's not able to see things way beyond the focal areas, then he's going to fail and the organization is going to fail. So it is basically a top-down approach. It is not a bottom to top level approach. Today we all feel it has to come from the bottom and it has to reach to the top. The success reaches that way, but your direction comes from the top to the bottom. Now, for example, if the same client is being, how many of us actually want to be culturally connected with the other demographics? How many of us want to be open to ask, hey, how does your culture work? How many of us want to really ask, how are things understood and how are things negotiated and how are things being influenced over a small team or a large team? We feel it is demeaning to ourselves if we want to go and explore. I'm afraid. I'm very apprehensive saying that, hey, does Nizam know? Doesn't know. He doesn't know anything. So I don't want to come with that stigma saying that I don't know anything. So I don't explore the client's culture. I'm assuming. An assumption is the first step for a failure. You're planning to fail. Now you have to engage with the customer. You have to engage internally as well as externally. And thanks to the COVID times, where I used to have a class of leaders coming from Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad, from all over, sometimes a few of them coming from the other countries. And we would make sure they come into a room and then learn. COVID taught us how we could have a hybrid model where people are sitting at various different locations and still going through the same course. And that's where I think the eyes open and saying that, if there is a will, you can actually learn and deliver. And that's where you need to have this a hybrid model where people are, in a work environment, at the same time sitting in various places. Maybe your village, it could be your farmhouse, it could be another city, it could be another country. But I think if you bring a common goal, if you have a common approach, if people are having aspirational values to the course, aspirational values to the path that we are taking in the organization, I think that's when the LMS will become one of the most loved system in the organization. Today, it should not be like a burden to us. It has to become like a value add to me, and that's when a LMS will actually deliver the potential it has. Otherwise, it is just another exercise that an organization would be paying like a $10, $50, or $100 per employee, but that should not go down the drain, but it should actually add value to the organizational capability.
Got it. So let us see if the LMS has the capabilities of personalizing a few aspects according to me, what my distinct traits are. Do you think that would make more sense?
Absolutely right. I think if a LMS is able to customize or evolve itself to a person's need and his aspirations, he will not leave that platform. He will stick to it. He will visit that platform at least once in a day or once in 2 days, so that he is see it's a, he the LMS is a foundation to his growth. How does he embed into his ability? Is over a period of 30 days, 90 days, or 180 days? It depends on how you want to embed what you have learned into your habits as a skill, and then it becomes very natural. The people in the organizations have to think learning and delivering is a natural thing to me and others. If it is not natural, then you can't put up every day.
Right. So now let us get into what is actually happening in today's world. There is AI transformation happening everywhere. So I just wanted to understand, how do you see AI changing LMS over the next couple of years?
This is interesting. Uh, in the last few, it's about 4 or 5 years that we have been doing a leadership, research. How leadership will evolve, have a transition over the next 10 years and the 15 years and the next 25 years from now. And let's assume it's going to be another 50 years. The we are already not thinking. That means I said those 14 executives were great executors, but not good relators as well as visionaries. Now, what happens is if the IT, if the AI becomes your thinking bot, if AI becomes your thinking bot, that means it's a death nail. If you use AI for your enabling your deeper thinking, I think then it becomes a complementary to you. A lot of us are using AI to think, to streamline a process, to streamline a delivery model, to streamline and basically plan this the whole process. Right now, where is your thought process gone? How is that you're going to prompt the AI saying that this is what I want and this is the validation that I want to have? This is the kind of approach that I would want to take. Please help me streamline it. Please help me execute it. Please help me, create X number of bifurcations into the process so that my people are able to adapt and move forward. So if you're not able to intelligently connect with the AI, then AI is going to eat you. The AI is for you to use it. It's not for you to consume it. AI it should not consume you. You have to consume AI. It has to become more internalized to us that how I can work with a very intelligent person who has every piece of data which is scattered across the world. He is giving me on a snap of a finger or a click of a button. I need to be a lot more thoughtful in an assessment that we do. There's a behavior called reflective and insight. On the left hand side means I'm very action oriented. On the right hand side means I'm very philosophical. And philosophical means I question the status quo. I will ask, why is this happening? Why is my revenue plateauing? Why is my people not getting motivated even after giving a lot of freebies, a lot of fringe benefits, a lot of things that I give, but they're plateauing? Why is it happening? What is causing? What is the root cause to it? Can this question be answered by AI and can be embedded into a LMS? That's where a leader will become a lot more important. I was telling you the research that we were doing in the future. In the future, I was telling this about 3 years back when I had data of about 5,000 leaders across the globe who had gone through an assessment with us. Uh, the organization is today like this, right? And in the future, it's going to be like that. You will have super experts sitting and executing it. You would have maybe two, three, or four leaders who are actually driving the business, who are giving direction to the business, who are actually possibly defining what is the top line and the bottom line to the organization. So you just have very, very few people who would actually lead. And there, when you're dealing with the super intelligent leaders, you would have three important things to manage. One is your ability to have interpersonal skills and manage your criticism tolerance. And I have always said that as a leader, you will have a lot of feedback, very critical, very sharp feedback coming at that level. You need to be able to take a lot of bad feedback at the same time criticism and then move on and work around the people. At the same time, when you have very mediocre level people coming and working in your organization, they will not perform at the level that you want to perform. And you will become highly self-reliant. When you become highly self-reliant, that means you will not empower, and you will also not delegate to people. When you don't empower and delegate to people, that means you will deliver everything yourself. That means you are no more a leader, but you are doing just what the organizations need to do. So as a leader, you need to move away from the task, do 80% of thinking, and that thinking has to be sharp, it has to be futuristic, it has to be complied to a competency called visioning. If you're not able to do that, you would not be able to use AI against the LMS as well as to the organization.
Okay, that's great. Will AI replace educators, trainers, and faculties?
Never, never,
Why
never,
not?
never. See,
Why
I'll tell
not?
you,
I
it's a
can
human.
think like a human. It is human behavioral patterns, right? Eventually, it's a data. It's pattern. You're taking so many assessments. Example, you yourself. You're taking so many assessments, right? What if I feed that assessments to an LLM or a learning management or a data management company and then create a clone of it? There are
It's
people creating
possible.
clones. Mhm.
It's possible. But when you're doing the cloning can happen any day and every time. But how AI is not going to replace humans is very simple. You as a AI cannot work itself, right? Now AI can we have an assessment which gives you a AI driven report. It can also give you a algorithm driven report. Yeah, it says that we can give you very customized report to a person. Yes, it is possible, but when it comes to teaching, when it comes to helping them realize how an experience can be your learning experience, how an incident can become a experience of learning, how an emotion that went through you during a extremely successful event or a very where you were supposed to be very successful, something happened drastic and you failed, and that emotion is going to become a learning. It's going to become a pivot, and it can help you learn for the next level. So the empathy, the your ability to help people manage emotions, I think it's human, right? Learning, yes, when it comes to giving information, data, when it comes to giving possibly anything to you ask anything today, what MIT would have as a privilege about 5 years back, and every person today has the same information, same article at the click of a button. But how you think, how you relate, how you feel, how you internalize it, how you help people work around those difficulties that the person or the executive or the professional is going through. I think this is where a coach or a mentor can do, and not a AI. AI is to help me, AI is to help you do better, but it will not take you over.
Okay, but that is very specifically for coaching businesses and the businesses which would involve emotions, understanding, energy transfer. But then, if there are businesses which we do see, right, which are into coding, etc., which it is doing, so how do you tell your employees or etc. who are into that level that how are you training them? It is not just about skill. uh, Artificial intelligence is better at your skill. So how will a leader survive in tech? Let's say, okay, sales wala, marketing, it can happen. We have emotions involved, etc. But how will a data analyst or a software developer or a front end developer survive? What would you suggest them when AI is actually taking over a lot of things of what they do, and they do faster? They do not have any complaints. They do not have offs. They do not have any Bakri. They do not have any Diwali. They have nothing. You tell AI to
Yeah,
code, it will keep coding. So,
yeah.
don't you think that software engineers itself are the biggest threat? Are in biggest threat because of AI? How will you train leaders over there in that industry?
These same people have created a Frankenstein. They have created their own Frankenstein, right? They have in the process of excelling, in the process of doing something marvelous, you have created a monster which is going to eat you up. But you are smart people. The human race is a very smart race. It has overcome unique and the most difficult situations in the history of mankind, and this is one a huge tsunami that has come in, and this will shake and this will also shock the world. But human gene has the ability to adapt, become better, and can move on, and it can possibly what AI is doing today may just become the AI's domain, and people will become more of drivers, and not and not the executors. So they will have to become the drivers of the technology rather than becoming the the instead of competing with the computer. I think you should become a person who can actually learn to drive, learn to execute, learn to train your own AI models. You will have to learn to do a lot of things that's going to shock the next wave. So it's your innovative capability that can actually work for you. Now imagine either now there are nearly 1,500 AI models. There are just about four or five which have been used across the businesses, right? So there are four surviving. The AI models are also not able to survive because of the costing. So how you make it more cost effective, at the same time how you learn the nuances of the AI so that you are the one who is using it and not the AI is using you. So that movement of enlightenment will come in the next few months or a year or two, and I think human race is a very smart race. It is not easy to take away the take away the rights and they take away the capabilities of the people. They are jugaad people, right? We can work any which ways. However, I think that the point of enlightenment will come in very soon.
I don't know, it's called Darwin's theory or something, survival of the
Yeah,
fittest.
fittest.
We will
Yeah,
have to survive. We will survive
yeah.
eventually at one point.
But
But
I
now we have
really,
spoke.
I really hope India doesn't become, what do you call the jobs which are called the Swiggy jobs? What do you call them?
Like blue
Gig
collar
workers.
gig workers, blue
Gig
collar.
worker. Yeah. A lot of software engineers are turning into gig workers. So they are doing small projects, small outsourced, third party work at home and doing moonlighting, right? Now, I think I just hope that we don't lose this race and become, I'm delivering newspaper to your house, you're delivering milk to my house, and somebody else is. So I hope our economy doesn't come into the a point where we become gig workers. I think Indians have to rise above their ability, have to rise above the capacity, have to rise beyond the people think that we can do, and actually become the masters of the AI. We have to spend a lot of time in terms of research, not to how to use it, but how to build it. And only then the India as a country will be able to survive and thrive and become masters of it. It is for us to go deeper into it rather than just use it like any other product.
But does India or the Indian governments or anybody in general in India have that infrastructure, the capacity for us to adapt, like how China or America is adapting? How important is me as an individual and organization, plus even the government? As you said, the direction comes from top to down, from the government
Yeah.
till the very last person. How important? How are we even capable? First of all, do we have that infrastructure?
I think from a human point of view, we have the huge capability. From an infrastructure point of view, we are struggling. From the policy making, I think we are basically sleeping. We are. I'll tell you why this is like this. The whole world wants India to be a consumer market because it's 1.4 billion people, right? They want us to
Mhm.
be a consumer. Let's see an example of Uber. We don't have an Indian version of the Uber, right? We have Ola, which is struggling, and we have Uber. Every kilometer you drive, you're paying it to the Uber. Every office word that you type in Microsoft Office, you're a consumer. You are using Gmail, Google Workspace, you're still paying. So the whole world wants us to be the consumer and not a producer. So if you want to tide over the AI, the people of this country have to rise up and get more, you know, take it as a challenge to master this and do it. The government
But
today just is, for example, the summit that we did, the AI summit. AI Summit was
Yes.
is more of a it was more of a sales of the world products in the Indian market. It was not about the Indian products which were sold to the world. It was we were getting exposed to the different models of the AI to the Indian population rather than we exposing our products to the world. So I think that's where the misalignment was there. The policy today is that we have a Google coming up with a data center in Andhra Pradesh, which is a disaster to the country. We should actually have, we should be actually be building LLMs rather than building data centers because it's going to consume water, it's going to consume a lot of, power, it's going to consume a lot of environmental your carbon points. But if you want to do it, I think you should be more building LLMs rather than data centers. And I think Indian people are consumed saying that, hey, you know what, we have so many data centers in the country, but they are basically a real estate performance driven small units for the external world, but not to the Indian continent. India has to move away from this data center and it has to become more of a product producer rather than a service producer.
Okay. Understood. So, how would you say? See, now leadership is okay for a person who is 35 years, 40 years, it's all done. What about the upcoming generation? We have got names like millennials, we get names like Gen Z. There are, I mean, that is what they are called, but then there are other terms as which the we guys are generally we are addressed at. So, what do you think? How will us, our generation, change the learning perspective, or what would you tell us so that we change our learning perspective and then, as you said, get into LLM? It's not that easy, na? How
It's not
would
easy.
that actually be happen?
I think you know what the Gen Zs are of a they're very passionate people. They're very emotional. Their emotions boil like this, right? Whereas millennials are a little more simmering, boiling point. Whereas the older people like who were born in 70s and 80s and 60s, they don't boil so soon, right? So our flash point is very quick. Now, but the Gen Z is smarter too. They have an ability to understand technology with a shorter time, unlike us. So we need to channelize this great amount of energy India has. The Indian government today has failed to do that. We are not channelizing our great talent that we have in this country to produce. We are our policies today is that our people need to be just happy. And when a prime minister says that reels banao or paise kamao, I think that's where that the channelizing of that youth energy into making reels is a disaster to the future of this country because you stop thinking. You would use two three filters in a Instagram or the Facebook, and you become happy because 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 likes you got it. But what you have produced for this country is nothing. So as a government, as a prime minister, as the finance minister, as the minister of industries, you have to understand that there are about 35 crore Gen Zs who are waiting to explode in the sense to perform, explode in the sense to make sure they have something that this generation has achieved for this country. That energy needs to be channelized to make sure we do a lot of research. I think this country needs to spend about 5% of its GDP, sorry, 5% of its budget for just research. We need to expand our IITs. The current campus needs to become 10x so that every classroom is doing research. Every classroom is doing research. So how do you channelize this young Gen Z is to push them into that infrastructure, push them into that streamline, so that they are doing what we want as a country rather than making reels and possibly just having a smile and feeling good that today I'll have a beer because I had 1,000 likes.
Okay, that's a quite a
Am
good
I
thing.
saying too much, Haida?
No, no, that's actually it becomes too much of reality check, no? Once there is
Yeah.
reality check happening and there is a slap on your face, you understand that okay, this is actually happening, and this is how we are going into it. So That is how things look like. Now when you say let's channelize the energy, so how important are gamifications and rewards when you're learning? Now it could be via portal, it could be via LMS, it could be via physical trainings as well. So how do you think gamification, rewarding, and making it engagement and channelizing their energy, how would you do that? If today you are telling that this is thing, let's say you get the authority that you can channelize certain things, so what would you do?
I think I would create a lot of games or activities which will actually help people produce and win rewards against it, right? I think if your Euron is able to have a platform which is going to gamify and learn and become more richer, become more successful, I think today's Gen Z is going to lap it up. I think they will not wait for you to invite; they will join you, just like in 7 days cockroach party had about 20 to 23 million people in 7 days. I think that's the kind of lap they will just come and take it. And I think that's as you're saying, as a sales head, you're saying how do I gamify and engage people and bring them, channelize their energy to make sure we become successful. I think your language, your intent is very clear in that direction. I think that's the reward is one important thing that the Gen Z is looking at today. It has to be quick. It has to be something big. If it is not quick and not big, then they lose interest. So I think you need to do that as a government, as the organizations. We have to learn. They're of a very different breed, right? The attention span is much less. It's shorter. But when they get into a task, they spend endless nights. There's a bipolar system, bipolar big personalities of Gen Z. They don't like something, they'll just move on. If they like something, they will spend endless nights and get immersed. They get engrossed, and they will come out successful. I think that level of engagement we need to create, and that intent and that policy making will actually help channelizing our great talent that's called Gen Z.
Amazing. Understood. Now, let's say you are advising an LMS company to make things like this. Example, like Huron Systems, we are also a learning management system. We have been creating LMS. We have taken help of AI, plus we are humanizing it as the whole conversation has been around. AI can help you, but eventually, trainers, coaches, you cannot replace them. It's very hard. So, what would your top three products or advises that these three products we need to have in our LMS so that things can get better?
I think what we do is, for example, we have 5 stages of what do you say, 5 stages of OD, and that's basically what we say is that, how do I put it across? Uh, we need to first create, your LMS needs to have a very good assessment capability, and then that needs to align with the people's need. And if you have the alignment, that's direction. If the direction is correct, you need to have an architecture and a design, that basically the gamification that you're talking about. If you know what diagnosis is, and you have a direction, and if you have a design which is the architecture, and that will basically activate and build your ability to keep the people engaged, and those people will adapt and have a change management in place, right? And then somebody needs to amplify the performance at this level. After there's an adaptation to the change, you need to have a few leaders, you need to have a few people who can actually amplify this. And the next level is advanced. That means your Euron platform needs to have an ability to move to the next advanced level, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So they need to be able to move from a level 1 to a level 2. So that's basically called an advanced level of renewing their interest to channelize their energy again.
Mhm. Okay, great. So let me, in that sense, let me just show you our portal. You know how it would look like. Okay, so you can have an understanding, so that even others who can have an understanding of what exactly is the LMS about. Okay, I believe my screen is visible.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll just log out. This is the backend. So let's say if I come as an admin and I am an educator basically, and I'm a trainer. If I want to help, this is how it would look like. There is AI, there is launch and everything. It is giving you some kind of an insights. So what we have tried to give is there are different kinds of tests which we can take into this, right? We have kept into different communities, and then you see there are way too many analytics than just normal, right? How many users are there, what is the user distribution and everything. But in terms of the courses, what are the enrollments, how have they done, what is the completion ratio, and other details as well have been given, plus quizzes, plus there have been different rewards. Now if I just go to a user, right, if I just click on myself, so there is my overall learning journey, right? My overall learning, how much I've done it, what is my self-paced, what is my other parts, what have I registered to. So all of these things, I think the course analytics, the time spent, this also gives an understanding that how much am I being actually watched, right? These insights are also important for our company's point
Wow.
of view, right? How many videos have I watched? One out of one. How many minutes I have stayed? How many courses have I done? Is it a self-paced? Is it a live? What is that course all about? When did I last do that? When did I last actually upgraded myself? Right. So we get all these overviews and everything. Obviously, because this is more of an ethic point of view, you can see a lot of orders, payments, and things. But then that is how it looks like. How many chats have I done? Nothing. I've not done any research on the portal. I've just come over here. I've just watched the video and I've left. All these
Okay.
insights are easily seen at the Euron LMS, Euron system. So that is how things look like, and how people can go ahead and understand. Plus, if you have any doubts and everything, just come ahead. Let's do a one-on-one consultation. As you said, trainer, there has to be somebody supervising it, right? You give a
Yeah.
course, everything then fine. How do you supervise it? You have your one-on-one consultations, you have your workshops, you then give the digital products and everything. So this is how our portal is also trying to transform and get and our certification is not just certification. But I had a very big question: is certifications
Go ahead.
actually killing the are certifications killing the actual learning?
No, I think no. I think if you have the levels of certification, I think it is not killing your LMS. The detailing of your LMS is quite outstanding. The amount of data, the amount of engagement that you're trying to create within the LMS seems to be that a client would just have to put it on autopilot mode and just sit through, so that uh, you
Yes.
know a coach of for possibly a trainer of 50 people can just simply manage everybody without really running on a treadmill. He just needs to go through some clicks and push these people to motivate them to go learn and become more successful. Awesome.
And then there is a complete roadmap. This is the best feature I love about our LMS. It's the complete roadmap and the analytics. It says if I'm a beginner or if there is a concern, how many days would it technically take, or where should I go? What should I do? What are my skills
Hmm.
missed? This is where we are taking the help of AI. Right? AI is just giving you numbers, but then how are you using that numbers? And then as an educator or as a trainer, I come back and tell this is what is actually happening. And you also see there is engagement. Every single engagement is given. So videos watched, there is a roadmap, there are quizzes, and how many have you given, total quiz attempts, daily quiz attempts, how is it going? So every single detail you want to understand on the portal is actually given. For what? Because a simple reason, our founder itself himself is an educator. तो
Oh,
एक educator point of view से समझ सकता है. So that's where the whole part of this LMS came into picture, and that is why we are able to give so many analytics. So anybody who's actually an educator or a trainer or a business coach or an edtech looking forward to serve online academy, like how Nizam sir said, there has to be assessments. There has to be somebody validating it. AI can help you understand it or give you a good data. You as an expert, as Nizam sir himself is an expert, he can understand the data and give back. I have personally taken my reviews from Nizam sir. I have taken his assessments, and it's actually eye openers where I clearly mentioned him, sir. I think this I need to learn a bit better. I am good at this point of thing. I need to do this more. So that is where self realization also comes. So this actually brings to the end of what we are doing today, the podcast. It was such an amazing journey, such an amazing podcast, so many insights given. But one closing question I would like to understand from your end: if you could advise or give one piece of advice to every single LMS company, HR leaders, and learning professionals watching this today, what would it be?
If I'll align your business leaders to what you want to do. Unless the business leaders are not clear what they want, the learning process is just another exercise. I think they need to use your system Euron and put the business leaders on it first, so that they understand what is their team going through, and then it's a piece of cake. It will be a smooth journey, and HR will have a much easier, effort, and it'll definitely give you what you're seeking as a result, and the company is successful. What else do you want? Euron will become a partner to the success, right? I think Euron should be partner to the organization as a success partner rather than an LMS. I see the kind of analytics, the kind of data that you're giving to the organizations. I think you should tell that, we are your success partners, not the learning partner.
Definitely. My whole sales team, please note it down. We are not just LMS, we are your success and your growth partners.
Absolutely. Now it looks good. Yeah. Tell it again.
You're on systems, your revenue, your growth, and your success partners.
Absolutely right. I think Euron should be and will be a success partner to a lot of organizations, and they will not miss you. I mean, I think if you don't call them, they should start missing you. Where is my success partner gone? I think that's a key takeaway for me, that we can have Euron as a success partner to our clients as well.
And the biggest key takeaway for me today is humans are the best form. Emotions cannot be replaced. Traders cannot be replaced. They can be clowned, but emotion energy exchange can never be done. And what a unique perspective of India should not just be a consumer, but also a producer, not just in terms of technology or in terms of farming. So many aspects take technology ahead and go. So thank you so much, Nizam sir, for joining in, and thank you every single person who joined us today, who was watching us live and who did get some value. So thank you very much, and thank you for the valuable insights. Thank you for the amazing journey which we have had, and for everyone who joined us today, thank you for being the part of this business spotlight sessions. If you found value in the conversations, please do not forget to follow Euron Systems on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram for more discussions with industry leaders. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, great LMS platforms don't just deliver content, they help people become better versions of themselves, as said by Nizam sir. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in and giving us the amazing, valuable insights. Nizam sir is also available on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I mean, obviously, apart from his educational impact, he's also a political leader. So his social presence is everywhere. He's the spokesperson. So if you require any kind of a help in terms of your career journey, you want to get into the leadership, you want to take the assessments and understand the assessments, not just take it and read out the reports, please do reach out to Mr. Nizam Faujdar. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you. This is Mir Muhammad Haider signing off from Euron Systems Business Spotlight. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll all see you in the next episode. Thank you.